So speaking of best in the world, a lot of people like to say Ricochet is one of the best in the world. And, you know, he did an interview with comicbook.com, and he, you know, a lot of people, especially Wavy Davey, likes to talk about how Osprey is one of the best in the world. And, you know, he's a big fan of Ricochet. Of course, they had matches back in the day, which he brings up here. But Will Ospreay goes off a little bit on Ricochet's booking in WWE and says, so initially he says, Will Ospreay believes how WWE are using Ricochet is appalling, making reference to WWE Speed. And Will Ospreay says, all of these high flyers that you see, and myself included, we all look to inspiration from Pac and Ricochet. The fact that they only value his time for under 5 minutes is appalling to me. I just want people to remember who he is. Will, more people know and remember who Ricochet is than will ever know you wrestling in AEW. We do remember who he is. Okay? If you go and look at 2012, 2013 Dragon Gate Ricochet, he was untouchable at that time. Yeah, buddy, more people saw his match on fucking WWE Speed than have or will ever see Dragon Gate ever. Yeah, Will Ospreay goes on and says, when it came to this generation of high flyers, bruv, he was the greatest. He's the greatest high flyer ever, bruv. I know it sounds weird, but I do include put him on the same level as Rey Mysterio. Okay.
But where was it say that? But I do. Where did it say that? Sorry.
But I do include put him on the same level as Rey Mysterio. So there's a bad editor, or Ospreay is just being
or just spell check.
Yeah, and then further comments.
Or AI.
Ospreay goes on to say, I don't know how much longer he has got in his contract, but I think it might be up soon. Ospreay, shut the fuck up. Yeah, he's going to leave him and his hot-ass wife, Samantha Irvin. He's just going to leave her and leave WWE.
I was riding a high like no.
Yeah, to come and stop being on the road with that so he can come flip with
SummerSlam's almost sold out.
And hang out with Tony Khan and Daniel Garcia. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. So anyways, though, Ospreay says, I want him to know that there are people here that genuinely appreciate his work, and I want to wrestle him again. I want him back here. So you think WWE doesn't genuinely appreciate his work? Bruv, Ospreay, I thought you were going to stop talking about WWE and focus on your own shit. Why aren't you focusing on your own goddamn shit that has to do with
He's in the culture.
AEW? Just put over someone. Like, why are you talking about Ricochet? Put over someone on the AEW roster.
Yeah.
For the love of God. Like, why are you talking about this guy putting over how great he is and how you guys wish you could wrestle him, and like focus on someone in your company, AEW? God, Jesus Christ. Anyways, so Ospreay goes, I want him to know that there isn't a bar. You are the fucking bar. I just want to see him with more time and ability to showcase himself how I saw him. He's one of the best going, and if the opportunity presents itself, I think he should bet on himself. I think he should remind himself that he's one of the best high flyers to ever do it. If it means he's got to come for me, then do it, boss, because I'm right here waiting for you. This is cringe. Ospreay, stop talking about WWE.
If he likes WWE so much, he should join WWE. Then he can actually learn something. Jesus Christ!
And like, who are you kidding, bro? Like, who are you kidding?
You're making your money, and I think he realized after he said grinding on the boss's wife, like, well, I better double down here. I had a theory about Tony Khan. I think he's a gambling addict.
What?
Because all these shows have gambling involved in it.
Hold on.
Doesn't it make sense? It's like it's got to be something subliminal because all these shows have gambling involved in it, like Double or Nothing, All In, All Out, and think about it. All his stuff, he's gambling constantly on these. Like, if you think a lot about like how AEW like works, it's a big gamble. In the sense of his storytelling, it's just like he likes to play it close to the chest. Accordingly, like he likes to say, like, well, I say it with air quotes. Look! All his major pay-per-views have something to do with gambling. All In, All Out, Double or Nothing.
Maybe he likes.
He's always in Vegas. He's always in Vegas. He's always been to Vegas. I'm like, I don't know. The guy is, and I remember watching a video where he's like, he looks so disheveled now. He looks like he's lost his ass. Let's be honest there. At a poker table, like, or a blackjack table. It's like, Jesus.
Well, speaking of Tony Khan, we have quotes from Tony Khan explaining why he decided to move the date of AEW All Out away from All In.
Wait, did that?
It's like, how the do you even need to explain this? Like, the fact this is even a thing that he thinks needs to be explained. Like, we know why you did it, because it's dumb that you did it the other way in the first fucking place. Tony, goddamn it, he's always just, he's cute though. So Tony Khan explains why he decided to move the date though, and he says it was a really great 2-week period last year of back-to-back weekends with All In and All Out. There was a lot of feedback of, hey, what about more time between the shows? And they're both holiday weekends, and I think there's a utility to both of the weekends. Coming off the stadium show, it's hard to come in and do anything the week after that. But last year we did it, and the show was fantastic. It was great. And a lot of people thought All Out was the best event of the entire year. It was awesome. It even beat All In Wembley. One note people had was, if All Out had been a little bit further out, we could have built things a little bit more, and maybe people wouldn't have been so surprised at how great the show turned out to be. I thought that made sense.
Oh my!
It makes sense to flesh out and properly book and tell
stories. It also makes sense to think about what you're saying before you say it. Jesus Christ.
Man,
that last paragraph is like
dummy. Yeah.
And by the way, the MGM Grand at max capacity 16,800.
Yeah.
It's like they're booked. This is their big pay-per-view, and they're booking second fiddle. And what is with this pink jacket? What the fuck is with this pink jacket?
Well, Tony Khan, speaking of like talent and Tony Khan being weird and unhinged, we talked about Dynamite earlier. Okay. But Tony Khan reports that Mark Henry's AEW contract is expiring imminently, and he says, "I really like Mark. We have a lot at that. We have to look at that internally as far as the contract and dates. But I think Mark is a great person, and I really personally like him. He's a great media personality as well as being a great wrestler and a great philanthropist. And I've got a ton of respect for Mark, and he's been great in AEW. And I have a lot of respect for him and out of the ring. Haha."
What has he done? What has he done?
Well, Mark Henry. Well, I mean,
I'm not talking about all. I'm talking about AEW.
In AEW, I don't know like what he's done, really. But he scouts talent. He found them Jade Cargill, things of that.
And she got the hell out of there as fast as she could.
Yeah, which is good. Like he told her the right thing to do. So Mark Henry back to WWE. Let's see it. I'm down if he goes back. I don't know what he'd do, just coaching and scouting talent. Obviously, he's got an eye for talent. So, but then Tony Khan also goes on to reveal why people won't see him on AEW TV going forward after he dropped Darby Allin off for school. Tony says, "I've really tried to limit the amount of appearances that I personally have made over the past 5 years." I need a drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right back. I need a drink too. Yeah, I need something to drink because
I think it would be fair to say that less than 0.1% of the television time has been spent on me over the last 5 years, and that's how it should be. Okay, that's true, Tony. But still, you're still on there taking pile drivers. Occasionally, if a match needed to be made or a major announcement, I would come out and do those things. It's really important to me that the focus of the show is on the wrestlers and the wrestling. And I think even when there is a story like the struggle for control of the company, the power in the office, I think it's still important to feature it in the context of the wrestling show and with the wrestlers. Oh my God, dude.
Oh.
He goes on to say, so even in the thing last night, I think I was maybe for like at most 2 seconds on the show, and that's how it should be. Yeah, you dropping someone off at the arena or whatever, dude. Like, you should be there being a fucking boss, bro. Like, this is crazy. You don't need to see a ton of me. It should be about the wrestlers and the reaction Darby got when he got into the arena. And because the Young Bucks had banned him from the arena and Kenny Omega has been out with surgery, then there's really
the Young Bucks banned him from the arena.
Yeah, but he's like, the Young Bucks banned him from the arena. Kenny is out with surgery, so there's only one person that could lift that ban.
The
And
Young
it's like,
Bucks
Tony,
banned their boss. Did I
well,
get that right?
well, it's just like, so what? Like the big pop, the big reveal was Tony. Like he was the
This is
There's
how much I care about AEW at this point. It's like,
and who has the magic and the capacity? Fantasia, it's great. Like,
this is
what
how
the
much I
fuck
give a shit. It's like,
but like this is the story though, right? Like, oh, like we're supposed to be. That's such an elementary, fucking low level story. Where like, is that what people were going? Oh, it's gonna be Tony Khan. Like the way we're geeking out, maybe Uncle Howdy might show up. They're like, oh, it's might be Tony Khan or something. Like, is that what? It's just
Uncle
crazy.
Howdy has some charisma, has some personality, has some interest, has something. Tony Khan has a head of hair and a pair of bug eyes.
Right. So Tony Khan goes on to say, I think it's also important that at most maybe 2 seconds of that would be me and the rest is him, because it's important to showcase the wrestlers on the wrestling show. Yeah, Tony, we know, buddy. We know that you like featuring your wrestlers on your wrestling show.
Note the word your wrestling show.
So here's Matthew Gregg, Botchamania, shout him out, legend. And here's a little clip from this past Botchamania. And this is what happened on Dynamite, man. People not feeling Dynamite lately.
Pac, your biggest mistake of all. You questioned me. You questioned us. You asked us. You pleaded. You begged us to make you care. So we just gave you exactly what you asked for. Pac. You see, as the catalyst.
Someone yells, who wrote this shit from the crowd?
Pac.
Bro, that's God. And like Jay White's awesome too. He's one of the best things. And then their fans and the people on Twitter are like, what? But Jay White's so awesome. And it's like, yeah, he is, but
he was.
The fucking story, the story suck, and nobody gives a shit about any of this. Like,
I'm gonna crack up on it.
It's fucking funny, man. It's just
like, the fact the mics, they didn't cut that. This is how shitty their miking is. Holy.
So speak.
No, sorry. It means that no one gave a shit, so they couldn't. Oh my god.
So speaking of AEW talent and people good on the mic, MJF. Yeah. According to Fightful Select, shout out Fightful, they say that discussions have happened regarding MJF making an on-screen return to AEW. There are several sources within AEW that believe that he could be coming back sooner than later, with most expecting him back in the fold by Forbidden Door in New York, if not sooner. Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense in New York, but he's also like he also hates on Forbidden Door. Like, oh, I'm not going to do that Mark show. Like he said that in the past.
But that's a Japan.
But if he just comes, no, it's in New York. So
no, but it's a New Japan show.
Right. But if he returns and like challenges, like who knows, whatever. I don't fucking know, dude. MJF, it's like, does anyone care that he's coming back? I never thought I'd say that. It's like when he does come back, it'll be awesome. Like I'll be happy. But it's just what is he gonna do? Feud Swerve? Like I just don't see what they're. I don't know. It's just nothing really.
The track has to resolve the devil thing.
Nobody cares about Adam Cole. Nobody cares about the devil.
Exactly.
They'll bring him back, and then Adam Cole will be healed, and then they'll feud over the devil shit, and people will go long-term story. But it's not, because there's no story. It's just a moot story that's been nothing, and the devils are nothing, and that faction's nothing, and then they just had the reveal, and then nothing. It was all nothing. So MJF's going to fight Adam Cole. Who gives a shit? But MJF got a contract extension with AEW at some point following the controversial Double or Nothing 22 situation, and he remains under contract for quite some time. So do you see what Fightful's saying? Listeners of PWT, you guys know this, right? I said this a year ago. Motherfucker, I've been saying this since this podcast existed, that MJF signed at that whole no-show debacle. That was a work. And then he showed up and got squashed by Wardlow, and everyone's like, that's punishment. No, it's not punishment. That was a work. He signed a huge long-term fucking deal for millions of dollars back then. All the Fightful saying this shit now. I said this shit so long ago. Listen to me, okay? And I'm not even the news. I'm not even trying to bring you guys news. But I'm just telling you, like, I told you guys this. Now what they're confirming, like, MJF himself would not confirm that much to anyone in the industry. Why? Because it's what the truth is. So he won't confirm that. Dummies. MJF is among the highest earners in AEW as per the deal. Exactly. I don't want to say he got like a favored nations thing, but he got bumped up significantly. And the bidding war of 2024 was this angle they were trying to push. And it's one of the biggest flops ever in pro wrestling. They thought everyone would be melting down. Who's going to sign? Oh, MJF will show up at the Rumble. MJF at Mania. Who's going to sign where? MJF's going to sign. They thought that's what was going to happen. None of that happened. There's no hysteria. No one cares. And we all know he signed with fucking AEW still. So, yeah, just good for him. And hopefully he comes back. And but it's just like too little too late again. Like there's just not I don't see how effective he'll be, just to be completely honest. And then also this past Dynamite, they had signs in the crowd. Someone had a Cornette is God. Oh my God. Someone had a Cornette is God fucking sign.
He's proven everyone right.
And then another person had a Triple H is your daddy sign. And then people are yelling, who wrote this shit? And fans are hitting the ring and people are harassing women wrestling. People are just, I think AEW has just become like a toxic joke, and all of the toxic weirdies who rotate and flock around that we've been pointing out, like, yo, a lot of these people don't act right and are weird and shit. And it's coming out now physically at the shows. And we've covered on the show before, there was AEW fans like, if Punk returns, we're going to hit the ring and let's see him stop us all. Like, we've gone over all that shit, man. Like, these people need to get a reality check. Yeah, they get pretty crazy. And like, speaking of the craziness, so here's Auntie Collins at Fightful Overbooked. And I hate to rag on Fightful so much, but Kylie at Fightful Overbooked. But like, look at, like, what are these weirdos even doing or talking about? Like, Auntie goes, the texts I received last week were about Orange Cassidy, House of Black, and Swerve. It's so fun. And then Kylie goes, all the AEW doom and gloom posts are hilarious to me because I have more non-wrestling fans texting me about AEW clips and such now than ever before. And then this girl, says like, oh, the text I received were about Orange Cassidy and House of Black and Swerve. No. And if that is true, it's because you guys are the only people that people know about wrestling. Do you understand? Like, you're the only people that people know who know about wrestling, and so they hit you up when they see a goofy clip of dumb shit. They're not watching the show. They're not buying the tickets. They're not buying the pay-per-views. This is weird cope, weird, and it's not about all the doom and gloom. And then she goes on to say, like, I have had 35-year-old coworkers who have never spoken to me about anything not related to work, suddenly asking me about the Tony Khan pile driver, and I'm supposed to believe AEW is on death's door. Please. Yes, man. Yes. Like, and it's not even about it being on death's door. Like, it will never die. Like, no one's saying it'll ever just go away. I know Awful believes that, but it won't go away entirely. But it's the fact that, like, the people are asking you about Darby jumping through glass. What are they asking you about? Like, weird, obscure shit that kind of goes viral for being stupid. And they go, oh, you like wrestling? You're the only person I know who likes wrestling. Did you see this weird shit? Huh, that's weird. Okay, but what they're not doing, it's not like The Rock and everyone talking about it and business booming and some 35-year-olds, Kylie, asked you about wrestling and you're the wrestling person. You have a Twitter handle called @Kylie Wrestling, and everyone at your work probably knows that you talk about fucking wrestling, and they asked you about a wrestling clip. That doesn't mean anything. That's so weird. That's this Meltzer thing where someone brought it up before where on this show where Meltzer will like talk to a girl. I think Alfred Konua brought it up on the podcast. He's like, Meltzer will talk to a girl who's like, oh, I really like this Dean Ambrose character. And then he'll go on his show and be like, all girls love Dean Ambrose and shit. Like, it's just anecdotal, silly, meaningless nothingness. It's fucking stupid. So Bryan Danielson, while we're on the topic of AEW news and stuff, Bryan Danielson said that the doctor has told him he needs to get surgery pretty soon. So he's about to do this pay-per-view, Anarchy in the Arena or some shit, dude. And he's all beat up and hurt. And so is Darby, just got hit by a bus and his ankle's broke. He's going to do Anarchy in the arena. Like, this is such a mud show bullshit fucking
Mud
company,
shows
man.
have more prestige and more understanding of medical procedures than this.
And so
they know if
Danielson,
Vegas fuck up, they can't afford to pay the lawsuit. Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, it's okay. But Danielson goes on to say that he has had a shooting pain in his right arm and that the only way he can hold out is if he can retain strength in his arm, which he still has despite the shooting pain. Like, that's not fucking good, man. That's really not good.
He's gonna, like, I don't like saying this, but all these wrestlers are trying to do the Ric Flair and die in the ring. It's like, dudes, you can't get the cheers if you're 6 feet up, if you're like, blah. You know, it's like, I don't understand these people having a death wish. It's like, or just wanting to have their arm amputated because, like what CM Punk said, like their doctors a doctor's job is to do no harm. These doctors should be telling this guy, look, if you don't do this, you're going to lose an arm, you're going to lose an eye, you're going to lose something. And I don't think these doctors are telling them anything. We thought the WWE doctors were bad. These doctors in AEW are horrible. Because they should not be letting these people work.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of people go, oh, but that's the doctor who saved Jerry Lawler's life and stuff. And it's like,
well, he's gone downhill from there.
Yeah,
money talks more than he does.
Matt Jackson says he and Nick Jackson let Jack Perry get it all out of his system during their first meeting together following All In 2023, days before forming an alliance at AEW Dynasty. They said they're obviously working their gimmick, but they said we kept an eye on him the entire time he was gone and helped him navigate the situation, a familiar one that we had also gone through. We also talked him down a few times. We gave him advice on how to succeed in Japan. It felt like he was our little brother. We saw him for the very first time since All In a couple days prior to the pay-per-view. We met him in our private jet and we talked endlessly the entire flight. We let him get it all out of his system, but assured that this would be a fresh start. So yeah, they're just crying about, oh, CM Punk hurt my feelings.
They felt like a little brother. Oh, that line made me, I threw up in my mouth a bit there. I was like, oh, man, disgusting.
So yeah, they're working the gimmick, but obviously it's just Jack's
it's not a gimmick. The gimmick doesn't work. It's just like, okay, you're assholes. We knew that already.
When this TV deal does not pan out, I'm going to fucking laugh my ass off just on principle.
The only way it's going to go, one way they're going to get through is if they don't announce it. We'll know. We'll know.
And like, guys, I don't want AEW to fail. I know I have to justify and say it over and over again. I don't, in case you're first time.
They need a loss. They don't need to fail. They need a loss.
They just need like a humbling. Yeah, they need some to revamp.
But the lack of a TV deal is going to humble them because hopefully it will humble them. I don't know if it will, but if Tony gets that reaction, like, look, we don't want to give you any more money. That's a problem. He'd be like, what? I said I loved you. Dude, it's business. Get a reality check. That's why your lawyers are here instead of you.
Yeah. So Gabe Kidd, he's taken shots at AEW a few times, and Gabe Kidd says he takes shots at Moxley and says, if you're going to be IWGP champion, you stay in Japan. That's how it's always been. You talk about respect for this company and that title. We'll come here for a month. Oh, you can't. You have a family at home. You have commitments in America. That's a shame. I don't give a fuck. If you're the champion, you have a responsibility. With great powers comes great responsibility. Fucking deal with it. And I just want to say, shout out Will Ospreay, because that's what the grind is, brother. Fucking, you got to pick up, you got to go. And you hold down, where is your company domestically? That's where you need to be holding it down. Here's another funny, like,
oh no! Oh, I've seen
trampoline with barbed wire.
Slack showing. Who's he throwing off?
Yeah, this is the Mud Show section. I just want to go over all the Mud Show and AEW news stuff. Here we go. Oh my God!
Who is that? Who is that guy? Is that Slack? Who's this guy he's throwing?
I don't know. Like, it's crazy how these guys do this for nothing, and you'd have to pay me quite a bit to take that bump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a reason some guys don't do that shit. I mean, I know a lot of wrestlers, and they're crazy, dude. I like. Oh, I forgot. Okay, so wait, no, but I like. I have some friends who are deathmatch wrestlers, and I respect them. Some of the nicest people in the world. Others are kind of psycho. But the problem is, like, you have to know when to stop.